G'day legends, welcome back to Ouch History. Now, we all love a bit of a thrill, don't we? Whether it's catching a wave down at the Goldie or taking the 4WD off-road, chasing that adrenaline rush is in our blood. But there's a line, mates, a line between having a crack and dicing with death. And today, we're talking about the blokes who crossed that line and paid the ultimate price. We're looking at the most gnarly, heart-stopping moments where gravity won the battle. Strap yourselves in, this is going to be a rough ride. Before we dive into the deep end, do a mate a favour. If you reckon you can handle the dark side of history, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. It helps us keep digging up these insane stories for you. Righto, let's get into it. Let's kick things off with a bloke who was arguably the king of the castle when it came to this madness. His name was Wu Yong Ning. Now, back in November 2017, this young fella, only 26 years old, rocked up to the Wei Yanghua Center in Changsha, China. We're talking about a monster of a building, mates, 62 stories high, standing 721 feet tall. That's enough to make your palms sweat just thinking about it. Wu wasn't just some amateur having a go. He used to be a movie stuntman and knew martial arts like the back of his hand. But the movie money wasn't cutting it, so he discovered roofttopping. Basically, climbing massive skyscrapers without a harness, without ropes, without a safety net, just pure guts and grip strength. He was absolutely massive on Weibo, that's China's version of Twitter, with over 60,000 followers watching his every move. His videos were dead set terrifying. He'd be dangling from skyscrapers by his fingertips, doing pull-ups over the abyss, walking on beams narrower than a cricket bat hundreds of feet in the air. But here's the tragic part, legends. Wu wasn't just doing it for the likes, he was desperate for cash. His poor mum was crook, really sick, and needed medical treatment that cost an arm and a leg. Plus, he had a lovely missus, Jinjin, waiting for him. He was planning to propose to her, promised they'd get hitched soon, but the bills were piling up. So a sponsor offered him a deal. They'd pay him 100,000 yuan, that's about 15,000 US dollars, for one video, one perfect, death-defying stunt. All he had to do was climb this massive tower in Changsha and smash out some pull-ups off the roof's edge. He'd done it hundreds of times before. Piece of cake, right? Or so he thought. Wu climbs over the edge. He's hanging there 62 stories up, nothing below him but air and concrete. He starts cranking out the pull-ups, but then things go pear-shaped. He tries to hoist himself back up onto the roof, onto the ledge, but he can't do it. You can see the struggle. His muscles just pack it in. Fatigue hits him like a freight train. He's hanging there, clinging to the edge for his life. 15 seconds tick by. It must have felt like a lifetime. He tries to get a better grip, scratching at the wall with his feet, but his connies are slipping. His arms start shaking uncontrollably. And then he just couldn't hold on any longer. The camera captured the moment he let go. He plummeted 45 feet down onto a terrace below. A window washer found his body the next morning. Just absolutely devastating, all for a stunt that went wrong. Now, let's fast forward to July 2023. We've got a French bloke named Remy Lucidi, known online as Remy Enigma. This guy was a proper thrill seeker. He'd been traveling the globe, Dubai, France, Thailand, climbing cranes, bridges and towers like he was Spider-Man. No ropes, no permission, just him and the sky. He ends up in Hong Kong, staying at a hostel in Tsim Sha Tsui. On the evening of July 27th, he sets his sights on the Trigunta Tower. It's a swanky residential skyscraper in the mid-levels, standing 68 floors tall. He rocks up to the gate, cool as a cucumber, and tells the security guard he's visiting a mate on the 40th floor. Even gives a fake apartment number. The guard buys it, lets him in. But Remy doesn't get off at the 40th. CCTV catches him on the 49th floor, sneaking into the stairwell. He hoofs it up the rest of the way on foot.
He forces open the lock to the rooftop, but then something goes wrong. We don't know exactly what. Maybe the wind picked up. Maybe he slipped, but he ended up trapped outside the penthouse on the 68th floor. Imagine this. It's 7:30 p.m. A maid inside the penthouse hears a frantic knocking on the window. She turns around and sees a man standing on a tiny ledge 68 stories up, face pale with panic, knocking for help. The poor woman screamed her head off and called the coppers immediately. But before the police could get there, Remy lost his footing. He fell all the way down. Just tragic, mate. A young life gone in a blink. It's not just skyscrapers, though. Back in December 2016, we lost a young British lad named Nye Frankie Newman in Paris. He was only 17, a fearless parkour runner. He was with his mates exploring the Paris metro. Now, these lads were into train surfing, riding on top of moving carriages. It's highly illegal and bloody dangerous. Newman popped his head out while on top of a moving carriage, maybe to get a better look or a photo, and he struck a tunnel entrance or a signal post. The impact was instant, catastrophic head trauma. His mates watched their friend die right there on the tracks. Then you've got Johnny Turner over in London in 2019, another urban explorer, 28 years old. This bloke loved seeing the city from angles nobody else did. He decided to climb some scaffolding near Waterloo Station. It was only about 8 stories high, nothing compared to the skyscrapers, but gravity doesn't care about height. He was scaling this metal jungle gym when something gave way or he slipped. He fell through the scaffolding structure. The brutal part is he hit the metal bars on the way down, getting battered before he even hit the ground. Paramedics rushed in, but he was gone before they could do anything. It just shows you don't need to be on top of the world for things to go south.
Now, Russia is a hotspot for this extreme stuff. They breed 'em tough over there, but sometimes too tough for their own good. Take Pavel Kashin. This bloke was one of Russia's best free runners. Parkour was his religion. He could flip and vault over anything. In July 2013 in St. Petersburg, he was on a 16-story building with his mates. He was going to do his signature move, a standing backflip right on the edge of the roof. He'd done it heaps of times. The margin for error is 0. You land it or you're history. Pavel stands on the edge, toes hanging over a 16-story drop. He bends his knees, springs back. The flip is beautiful, perfect rotation. But the landing? He missed it by inches. One foot caught the ledge, the other hit fresh air. He tried to windmill his arms, tried to find his balance, but momentum is a cruel mistress. He tipped backward. His friends watched in horror as he fell nearly 200 feet, dead on impact. And get this, his parents actually released the photos of his fall to warn other kids not to be so reckless. Then there's Yuri Alisev. This story's a bit different. Yuri was a chess grandmaster, literally a genius kid, world under-16 champion. His brain was his weapon, but he started getting into parkour to stay fit. November 2016, Moscow. He's on his 12th floor balcony. His girlfriend is inside. Yuri decides to try a parkour move on the balcony railing. He wasn't a pro like Pavel, he was still learning. He steps up, tries to move, slips, and just gone. His girlfriend hears the noise, runs out, and sees an empty balcony. She looks over the edge and sees her boyfriend far below. A brilliant mind, a chess prodigy, wiped out because of one slip-up on a railing. And it gets worse. Back in 2012, there was a young woman in St. Petersburg, 24 years old. She wasn't a pro. She had some friends who were into parkour and she wanted to give it a whirl. They took her up to a 17-story building. Her mates were doing a gap jump, leaping from one ledge to another. They told her, "Don't do it, love. It's too dangerous for a newbie." But she wanted to prove herself. She lined up, ran and jumped. But she didn't have the power or the technique. She didn't even make it close. She fell straight down the gap, 170 feet. Her friends could do nothing but watch. It's a harsh lesson, mates.
Don't try to run before you can walk, especially on a rooftop.
We were all young and dumb once, right? Thinking we're bulletproof. But for some kids, that confidence is fatal. Let's head over to Brooklyn, New York, March 2015. Tyreek Riley, just 15 years old. He's up on a roof with his mates, just hanging out. Someone gets the bright idea to jump the gap to the next building. It's about a 10-foot gap. Now, for a trained athlete, 10 feet is doable. For a 15-year-old kid in sneakers, it's a death trap. Tyreek decides to go first. He backs up, sprints, and launches himself. But he comes up short. He doesn't hit the other roof, he falls straight into the alleyway between the buildings. He fell multiple stories. His mates looked over and saw him lying there not moving. He died later in the hospital. Just a kid having a muck around, and it ended like that. Similar story in Ankara, Turkey in 2019. A 17-year-old Russian lad known only as AF was visiting on holiday. He was keen on parkour, wanted to test out the local architecture. He finds a 7-story building with a gap to the next one, maybe 8 to 10 feet. He thinks he's got this. He takes a run-up, sprints, and leaps. He's flying through the air, but gravity pulls him down. He misses the edge. He falls 7 stories into the narrow space between the walls. People on the street heard the thump. By the time the ambos got there, he was already gone. Another holiday that ended in a coffin.
Finally, let's talk about David Harrison. This one's a bit of a freak accident. July 2018, West Palm Beach, Florida. David was 24, loved his parkour. He was out with his mates exploring the city at night. They found a building with some good walls and ledges. David goes to do a move, but he didn't see the danger. He wasn't beaten by gravity this time, he was beaten by electricity. He accidentally made contact with some high voltage equipment. Thousands of volts surged through his body instantly. He collapsed on the spot. His mates got him to the hospital, but the damage was done. Head trauma from the fall, internal burns from the shock. He fought for weeks in the hospital, poor bloke, but his injuries were too severe. He passed away in August, just exploring his city, and he copped a lethal shock. So, what's the takeaway here, legends? It's tragic, isn't it? Every single one of these people, Wu Yong Ning, Remy, Pavel, all of them, they were full of life. They were chasing a feeling, chasing a moment of glory, or maybe just a few likes on the internet. But the pavement doesn't care how many followers you have. Gravity doesn't care if you're a chess grandmaster or a stuntman. One slip, one loose grip, one moment of fatigue, and it's game over. I'm not saying don't live your life. Go out there, have an adventure, but maybe keep 2 feet on the ground, or at least wear a harness. No photo is worth your life, and no stunt is worth putting your mum through that kind of grief. If this video gave you the chills, let me know in the comments which story hit you the hardest. And look, if you want to see more cautionary tales and deep dives into the darker side of history, make sure you subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Stay safe out there, legends, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. Cheers!